Righto, welcome back. So, in this episode, no Monaro. Nah, just joking. So managed to get it all back together, out on the hoist, started doing the transmission tunnel, doing the structural support between it. So I thought I'd get that out of the way before I done the tunnel itself. Anyway, that's what this one's going to be about. So just doing a bit of work on a friend's ute. Had a stripped input shaft. So that's a BF, and that's an AU. 10 spline, 23 spline, a little bit longer. Basically an identical case. The tail housing looks very similar, but shifter position is actually 10 millimeters further back, and they use a different clutch style as well. The BF is like a center bearing throw out, like the plain old that style, and the AU is the old arm. But yeah, so that's the BF, AU, BF. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll just put the jack back under the front, just tilt that engine a bit. See if I can't press this sucker up again. There we go. Well, here we've got the front end sitting on the stand. We'll we'll throw it in place anyway. See how this is gonna go. I knew this quad bike stand would come in handy one day. Righto. Well, that's in there. I've got the old tubes in there, and I've got the old bolts here. I've chased them down with a tap and die. Same thing with those. Probably one of the best investments you can do with an old car is get yourself a good tap and die kit, just to chase every bolt and every thread. Done so many on this thing. Don't know how many I've done, but a friggin' lot anyway. So I'll just use these old top rubbers to start with. I'll never seize them up, drop them in, because they're easy to change the top ones. Just do it one at a time, pull it out, flick the new rubber on, put her in, torque her up. But I need this front end back in so I can get the engine back in and gearbox and start fabbing up the trans tunnel. But once I've got that in there, I'm going to get a mod plate guy to come around and tell me what I can and can't do with the trans tunnel, so that way I don't have to cut it out and redo it again later. Yeah, and I don't think this has been shown yet, but this is the donor vehicle. 2000 something or other Colorado. So I don't know if that's dark, I'll just point that in there. Hopefully that's adjusted well. But yeah, battery on that side, computer, airbox, power steering over there. So hopefully, fuse box, battery, air cleaner. So, the way I'm looking at it over here is fuse box, battery, air cleaner. So everything should sit in its, well, factory spots of that, so no playing around with wires or any of that sort of kerfuffle. Yeah, so when the fuse box sitting there, the power steering reservoir sits there, basically the same sort of position it does on that, down to the power steering pump. Obviously I'll need custom lines to go to the steering rack. But yeah. Oh, I'll shut this off, throw those bolts in, front end semi in place. Oh, and get the other bolt for that. I've got those rubbers already. Yeah. Well, we've got the engine back in. None of the bolts are tight, but it's in there. Gearbox cross members in there. So now I go out, grab the other wheel, throw it on. So the plan is to get it outside and move the Valiant out of the way. Bring it around, kick the Camaro off the hoist and put it on the hoist, so then we can get it up. And this is the other one. Yep. Watch me drop this. Yeah, we'll get it up and start being able to get to that trans tunnel a bit easier. We'll mock it all up on the hoist, just so, yeah, like I said, for ease of seeing things and just all round easier. Let's see. So the plan is to use this 4 mil, I think it is, something like that, plate to make this trans tunnel support. Like all these cars, this here gets cut out to put in different transmissions. This one was cut out and never replaced, but in order for this conversion to be somewhat compliant, I need to replace this. So I'm going to bend that up. Hopefully this is, you can see this, it'll go up and over, so it'll weld on here, over the top, weld on here, and then the sheet metal on the floor will get welded to that as well once I make the tunnel. This plug here for the speedo drive, I'll have to shorten it up, so I'll have to ditch the plugs and solder the wires straight onto it, because there just won't be the clearance there for the plug. So yeah, there she is in all its glory up here. Can't wait to get this thing done. Still a long way off, but it'll be good once it's able to be cruised around. So these plugs here, they're going to be fine. As you can see, there's plenty of room for them. Still get to the gearbox filler, drain, so that should be no dramas. Exhaust, well, that's been moved, but yeah, plenty of room to come down through. The steering drive, as you can see, it'll go straight up through there. With that moved, it'll be even more clearance. Engine mounts, plates. As you can see, I still need to trim this up. I'm going to tidy these up to more follow the lines a bit better, just so they don't look so agricultural. The same thing on this side. Yeah, everything should be good, not too bad clearance everywhere. I'm still not 100% happy with how low that thump hangs. So I might even knock the pan off at some point and see if I can't take 20 mil out of it, just to bring it up that bit more. Take 20 mil out of it and then maybe have a skid plate that just bolts around here. You know, just so it can't get any direct hits. It'll sort of take a grazing hit if I run over something. So the general plan is to have this go up there, be welded in, cut another one for this side, then join them together in the middle. I'll trim that off on that angle so it sits nice, and then I'll tack it all in there and see how it's going to look, and if it's all good then we'll finish weld it. Yeah, but for now I'll cut that off and tack it up in place. So I've got that one in place, and I forgot to turn the welder down, so when I strike the arc shear, blew a big hole. But this one here, because of the angle that's on, hopefully you can see that. See how it goes straight into the gearbox? So what I've done is I've put a slice down it, and I'm just going to take it to the anvil and just bash that to put a bend in it essentially. And then once I get it right, well, then it'll get a bead of weld run down it to strengthen it back up again. But I'll just go bash this and get back to you. So that worked out pretty well. So if you can see, when I put that up there, see that's like an inch of clearance up there now. So then I'll tack this one in place, and then we can focus on, well, I'll fire the hoist up, drop it down and see how it looks from the top side, and see what we can do about the top. Well, I ditched the other idea and I'm going with this. So I've trimmed it down a lot shorter, thinking the lower it is, the less leverage it'll get to, you know, to twist and break it. So with that there, plus that brace that will go underneath the gearbox, that should be plenty strong enough. Plus it'll have like the sheet metal going over it, welded to it as well, so you know, I'll be happy with that. So I'll tack this piece in, get underneath and blast it all up, and then get into making the that little cross brace for underneath. So this is what we've got so far. Yeah, so from here at least I've got something I can build on the top side. So the bracket I was talking about for underneath is going to go from here to there and bolt through. As you can see, I've got steel left hanging out. That was on purpose so I can have a brace underneath. I'd like to try and use this tubing here. It's thick wall tube I had left over from a race car I built a while ago. So yeah, I was thinking put it there, put a bend in it so it sort of has a bit of a drop down. So we'll take it into the press and see if we can't put a bit of a bend in it to be able to make it work. And then we'll just weld nuts to the inside and yeah, just drill holes and bam. So I'll clear this off and see if we can't put a bit of a whoop in it. Be something about that sort of angle. So this is pretty sketchy, but I put the hammer there just to try and, because it's got that bit more of a smaller surface area to put on that bar, purely for the fact that I should probably stand those up on their end actually. Yeah, I'll do that before I press. But yeah, I did that to try and focus the force in a smaller area to try and get that bend rather than risk damaging the end of that ram as well. Yeah, making that area smaller. Anyway, I'll just set those up on their end so they're stronger and we'll give it a crack. probably a tad more. I'm worried these are just going to shoot out. Might move these pieces of metal, as if it hits one of those and spears me. Anyway, yeah, so that was taking about 5 ton of pressure to bend that tubing. Crikey. You know, it probably would have taken me, I don't know, at least 2 or 3 hits with a hammer to get that same effect. But you know, don't want to damage my hammer. So I've just done a rough cut just so I can place it up there. So I've got it there and just sort of roughly put marks on the angles and the distance, and then measured what the width of it would be inside there, because these are tapered, so obviously it's going to be a longer distance from, swap hands here, a longer distance from there to there than it is from there to there due to the taper on them. So I've done a measurement, flip this over and put that measurement on the back side. So I'll cut it to those angles because that's going to be the longer side, and then I'll just buff it back until it fits neat up there. So that DB there is driver's side back, so I know which way's which. Yeah, so I'll go put this in the bandsaw, lob it off, and get back, and we'll see how it goes. So she's cut. We'll see how this is going to go. Hopefully I didn't just make a mess of this. Oh, look at that. Now I've still got to trim this side down. But yeah, if that one was in there. Oh mate. I'll give this back edge some buffing so it slides up in there. Oh, in the words of the late great Big Kev, I'm excited. Yep, let's give this a tickle up with that buffing pad, that flappy disc, and make a fit. Rightio, so here we have it. So that'll bolt up in there like that to brace it up. Once I weld some nuts and that in the end, drill some holes, boom, and then yeah, you can just unbolt it whenever you need to drop the gearbox out. So, but for now I need to go get hardware for that. Find a I don't know what size to put in it. Something half decent anyway. Yeah. Cheering. I thought that was going to be a massive nightmare. So back from the hardware store, welded some nuts into the ends. So now that will go up there. Now I just got to somehow find out where the middles of these holes are and try and match them up to drill the holes. And the bolts just there will bolt through and stiffen it all up. Yeah. Had one win with the bolt on this side. Obviously it's not done all the way up. So now for the tricky one, try and get this one to match up. Basically I'll just try and look down the gap, mark the line that way, and then just try and meet them up in the middle, if you know what I mean. What did I do with my bit of chalk? Here it is. Yeah, so if I look down the edge, see the hole, put a line, look down the other edge, put a line, and then if I match the two lines up, obviously better than that, and drill my hole there, I think I should be in the center. Well, that's the theory behind it. It worked not too bad for that one. So we'll see how it goes for this next one. Moment of truth time. Where can I put this? I'll try and do this one-handed somehow. Oh, don't tell me I got it. Oh, are you kidding me? That's awesome. Yeah, well there we go. So, with those two, obviously they'll do up, and that'll... Oh, I didn't get that kink in the middle quite center, but anyway. That'll, that's a win for me. So what I'll do now is I'll clean some of these up, because some of those look like shit. And I think I still need to have to knock this out to get right underneath there. But yeah, we'll call that a bit of a win. Wicked. So that's it with hopefully that cleared up. That's it with it bolted up. It didn't pull it or distort it, and that is solid. That ain't going anywhere. So I'm happy with that. So I'll just let it down and I'll show you how it looks on the inside. I should have probably fixed that big old dent in the sill when the car was apart, but it's just going to be a beater anyway. How's that? Is that going to be? That'll be enough. Yeah, so that's it on the inside. I'll go around here. Yeah, so that's the main structure part. I'll probably trim those spiky bits off and that. Yeah, I'm happy. Hopefully everyone else will be who's going to check it over. But yeah, I'll probably take some photos of it, send it through to him, see what he reckons. And yeah, guess I'll hit that sheet metal for the tunnel. But I'll throw that up in the next video. I'll get going. So anyway, hope you've had a good one. Cheers.